When you're ready to buy a house, I will sit down with you and we will have a conversation to get things rolling. The first thing I want to do is understand what your goal is. What do you want to achieve? What kind of house do you want to buy? What's your budget? I need to understand, and I want to understand everything that you're trying to achieve. In the front end of the whole search process, I will advise you and guide you to look at the financial picture first. We want to find out what your budget is, so I'll help you get pre-qualified for your mortgage if you're going to be getting a mortgage, or if you decide you're going to be purchasing by cash, then I'll help you take those necessary steps. But the first thing we want to discuss is the financial side of the equation. The next step will be we will begin our search together, and I'll set you up on my website so that you can start to conduct your own searches. And I will also conduct searches, and we work in a collaborative way. I'll be your partner. I will give you all of the information that you need. I'll arm you with all the information and data that you need to understand the pros and the cons of each individual house. The cornerstone of my service is to keep my customers informed from day one until the day we close. And I make sure that all of my customers are informed all along the way and have no surprises. One thing that I do for my out-of-town customers is I will preview a house. I'll go into a house with my iPhone or iPad, and we'll do FaceTime showings of the house. So I'll walk through the house with my iPhone or iPad, and the customer will be out of town, but they'll be able to view the house through my little video presentation and walk through and ask me questions there. When you find a house that you want to buy, we're going to sit down and discuss the next steps, which is for us to prepare a contract. And that's a very, very important fork in the road because the contract is a legally binding document. I will prepare the contract and explain the contract to you entirely. It's a very complicated process, and it's a very important part of the process. It's an important fork in the road because from that point forward, there are financial consequences, and I want to make sure that I protect your interests all the way to the closing table. Negotiating the contract is a very, very important part of the process. It may be the single most important part of the process because it's going to have, the price that we negotiate is going to have lifelong impact on the customers. Buying a house is the most important investment that most of us make. So my goal is to always try to help my customers get the very, very best price for the home. To be on the side of my customer and to help them navigate through this entire process, the negotiating process, is the most important part of the entire transaction, and I love doing this. Once we have a negotiated contract and everybody's thumbprint is on it with their signatures and the money has been deposited and we're ready to move forward to the closing table, there are many, many moving parts, administrative and legal parts in this entire process. And my job is to make sure that all of the requirements that have been outlined in the contract are followed. And I also will work very closely to help the other realtor make sure that their customer is also moving along on their parallel track to the closing table. So I do a lot of coordinating with the other agents. I do a lot of coordinating with the banks and with the title company, and if attorneys are involved, I'm sort of at the hub of the wheel, making sure that all the spokes are aligned correctly so that we roll to the closing table and have a smooth closing. It feels great to cross the finishing line, and sometimes even after we close, there are details that have to be followed up. So I'm with my customers not only to get to the closing table, But if there are any follow-on actions that are required after closing, I'm there to help also. The biggest payback for me as a broker, the biggest payback is to see that my customers are satisfied and happy and have achieved their goals.